If you don't trust the government, no matter who's in office, you don't trust the government as a whole, then you tell me why that every time that there is a mass casualty event or some kind of big event that's a tragedy that ends up in the news cycle for 2 weeks and all the major media outlets are covering it. Tell me why you actually believe the details. Charlie, look, dude, if you can't see the deception that happened through all of that, then you truly are lost and you don't understand. You have no idea what's going on. It makes you seem sheltered almost, that you have no idea that they lied to us through the whole thing. What's up, guys? Now, before I proceed, I just need to make a statement. I just want to say that I like Charlie. He seems like a legit good dude in real life. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know him. But his intentions here are misplaced. I've got a little story about good intentions. So my friend's husband decided that he was going to help her clean the grill because she usually does the grilling in the family. That's pretty sweet, right? Yeah, that's what she thought too. Next thing she knows, she starts spilling gasoline. She turns around and this man is out here pouring gasoline on the grill grate like he's baptizing it in the name of horsepower. He looks up at her with this big old grin on his face and he says, "Don't worry, babe. I watched a tutorial." Then he lit a match. Yeah, you can see where this is going. Long story short, they no longer have eyebrows. And their patio looks like someone took a flamethrower to it.
This is a Flammenwerfer. It werfs Flammens.
Hans gets the Flammenwerfer.
He meant well, but the fire department, they disagreed. Now, this video is an hour long, and I'm not going to do the whole hour. I'm just going to do the most important parts that I think are most important, because I'm going to address some things that Charlie and Asmon both talk about.
Growing up thinking that brainwashing and mind control was just something you see in comic books and cartoons.
Nope.
Now I know it's a very real thing that
Absolutely.
you can see happening daily in this country.
Yep.
Now, the big thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about a lot here.
People have lost their minds.
I agree.
A bunch of blabbering here and drool coming out of my mouth as I'm spitting because I'm about to be getting pretty passionate. The big focus is on the huge crypto collapse from yesterday. And the very suspicious, very lucky trader who was able to cash out $190 million off of it because they were shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before and all the way up until a minute before Trump's Truth Social post announcing the massive tariffs on China, which crashed the entire market.
Damn.
And 30 minutes later, they cash out $190 million. It seems like they might have known something, but that can't be, right? That would be
surely.
corrupt.
Well, can't they trace the crypto address, the wallet address? Because they're public, right? See who it was. Insider trading is a problem. If someone in the admin is doing it, if Trump is doing it, or if anybody in his admin is doing it, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'll just tell you that. There would be no surprises here. But they all do it. Everyone in D.C. usually gets... How do you think Nancy Pelosi has so much money? She is ancient. She is literally like a walking corpse, and she is worth more than most people put together in Congress. And that doesn't make any sense. Term limits need to be a thing. She needs to be hauled off to the nursing home. And I say that with love in my heart, saying, Nancy, you need to go away. You need to go away. You need Christ in your life. You have been on the devil's side this whole time. Okay. But when it comes to this issue, what are we going to do about it? Nobody is willing to. Corruption runs so thick in D.C., and it touches almost everyone and everything. Not just in D.C., but if you look at the world leaders, the people that are in charge that have even a modicum of power, most of them are corrupt. I would say 95% of the world's politicians are corrupt, no matter what side they fall on.
And this administration doesn't engage in that kind of nefarious activity.
No.
Except for all the previous times that this exact same thing has happened with Trump announcing things on Truth Social that people close to him that suckless teats must have had insider knowledge on because they're able to cash out millions upon millions of dollars because of it.
Yes, and this has happened. This is not the first time. This keeps happening.
repeat cycle of threatening tariffs, backing off tariffs, postponing tariffs, just fluctuating the market up and down. Yet people in his inner circle must be privy to this knowledge because they are making absolute bullseye trades based on that before it becomes.
I think
I
think Charlie's right about this.
Yeah,
and I think this is a meta level problem. I think that anybody who's involved in government needs to be barred from making any trades or having anything to do with political trading whatsoever. Sorry, stock trading or crypto trading or anything like this. And this is like a meta level issue.
Yeah, if you hold any kind of a political office, you shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be allowed. I wouldn't go now. He goes as far as to say maybe their family members. Depends on who we're talking about. If we're talking about the wife, yeah. If they live in their household, then yeah. But I think it should be banned. Like they shouldn't be able to do it because they make so much money off of it.
Say Nancy Pelosi. This is any of the like a Barack Obama. Their spouse should not be doing it either. Then they would just leak information to somebody else. Yeah. But they definitely shouldn't be able to.
Right.
Why do politicians get off the hook? I don't know. But yeah, I agree.
Because the system is rigged. That's why.
This has been a problem for years.
Public. So this isn't really anything new. It's just the most egregious instance because you can literally see it. This account opens and starts shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before this announcement, and then a minute before.
It's like somebody you give somebody their math your math test, and you're like, okay, copy it, but don't make it look obvious, and they just go.
So my understanding of how a crypto wallet works, now correct me if I'm wrong here, is that you can openly see their buying and selling and trading of their crypto, right? But you cannot. Maybe you can't identify exactly as to who the individual or the company is through their wallet address. I don't know. I have no idea how any of that works. I watch the trades. Like I have like Coinbase on my phone, but I'm not active in it. I've thought about investing in some really like in Dogecoin and all that, but I haven't done it. My point is that if you have any knowledge on that, let me know because I have no idea how that works.
One for one.
I'm not smart enough for it.
Truth Social post goes live.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievable. And if you're a MAGA cultist, it actually is unbelievable. They refuse to believe it. They refuse to accept the very real reality that they are getting hosed. Trump.
It's very likely that somebody that was involved with Trump's administration made this decision. Or somebody that's privy to knowledge that they shouldn't be aware of made this decision. And
because it happened right before his announcement. Like leading up to a minute before. It walks like a duck.
There should be an investigation into who did that and making sure that that person never has access to information again and potentially also criminal charges. Baron Trump, I don't know. Nobody knows. Like, and this is something that I feel like I've always...
so you can see the trade, the buying and selling of crypto and the trading of crypto, but you can't exactly identify, I guess, who the person is.
This isn't a Trump MAGA cultist opinion. This is a meta-level problem that's affected politics for years.
And Trump's family's net worth has exploded since becoming president. How do you defend that? Well, I'll tell you how. Because they say Trump is such a benevolent saint, he actually doesn't even keep his salary from being president. Wow, that's how much he cares about the American people. You delusional homunculus. The presidential salary is actual peanuts. It's literally used condoms in the grand scheme of how much money him and his family are making throughout his presidency.
Yeah, I think it's $140,000 a year or something like that.
Sworn in, he was still launching up to 168 new products. And that doesn't even...
No. While he's in office, he was doing the Trump phone. He did the Trump phone.
Include things like his cologne that he launched.
Whatever happened with the Trump phone, by the way?
Okay, so we're aware of the products and stuff that he's got. Let's go on.
Only to enrich himself and his family, his fucking meme coin and all of that. His family is going...
I think that the meme coin is indefensible. The meme coin was definitely bad. I don't see how anybody can spin it as not being bad. And especially when...
Yeah, because before that, there were so many meme coins that people had that got ripped off from all these other meme coins that came before it. So why would you invest in it when you know that a rug pull is going to happen? Why would you do that? Everybody knew what they were doing and knew what was going to happen. So why would you even invest in it? Because they thought they could get in early enough, right? They thought they could get in early enough and that they would be able to pull out early enough. And guess what? A lot of people lost a lot of money.
Yeah, Trump did the same thing. I mean, really, it was bad. I mean, I don't... There's a big problem that I think a lot of people have where they can't, like, this is somebody like, I mean, I'm generally like pretty pro-Trump, right? I'd agree with a lot of things he's done, not everything, but a lot of things he's done. Like, for example, the Middle East stuff, I've been glazing him for like the last hour about that, right? But this definitely was a bad decision. And I think that a lot of people have this fixation in their mind that they're allergic to any degree of nuance or complexity to any issue. And I think that this aversion has caused them to delude themselves to a degree that's unhealthy. And so what's happened is that people will always try to come up with excuses for why something bad happens on their side. But the reality is that sometimes people that you agree with can do things that are wrong. And that doesn't mean that the people that you agree with that are doing.
Look, I agree with Asmon here, but here's where we're going to split. Here's where I'm going to go this direction and he goes this direction. I'm not pro-Trump. I voted for him, but I'm not I'm not a part of the MAGA movement. Like I'm a patriot. I'm a Christian first, a Southerner second, and a patriot third. That's the way my belief structure works. If you cannot understand the level of corruption that runs deeper than what your party is, what side you stand on, if you can't understand that, then you've lost the plot and you have no idea what's going on. I voted for him out of pure, and I mean pure survival. And I told my husband that would be the last time I ever voted for anyone ever again, because I didn't know the specifics of what was going to happen once he got back in office, but I knew that there were going to be some things that were going to happen that he was going to either do or not do, the Jeffrey Epstein files, hello, that were going to reveal his hand, that were going to show his hand. He is no different than anyone else that has ever sat in that seat. And I'll tell you why. Every single person that's ever sat in the Oval Office as a sitting president has always, ever since probably going all the way back to probably the 20th president of the United States, has had to answer to someone else. No matter who gets in office, they're not the boss. And if you really believe that, if you believe that they are the person that is in charge of this country, then you have no idea what's going on. Geopolitically, when it comes to foreign policy or domestic policy, you have no idea. You have no idea what's going on. They have never run this place all the way back until probably the 25th president. That's whenever the movers and shakers of the world, the people with deep pockets, came in and said, we own you and you're going to do what we want.
Bad things that people do, but trying to force every single person into being like this black and white cookie cutter thing because you're afraid of dealing with the nuance of the human condition is just simply setting yourself up to fail. It's you're building a web of lies. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to everybody around you, and you're just being delusional. And I don't know why people do this. I really don't. I think this is I'll probably say this a lot. It seems like it's one of these videos, right? This is a both sides issue, right? So I think that people constantly try to look up for excuses for why their side does something, but when the other side does it, it's bad. And I think this is a massive issue.
And that's what Charlie does in this very video, you guys.
For all. This could all be true. Yeah, it is. It's all or nothing thinking.
In terms of how much money they are making off of his presidency. They're not even hiding it. They are just constantly making money off of you. As you suffer and get less and less money, they get more and more, and not even leaving you bits and pieces, morsels of the crust. Yeah. It's sad, and yet people love it. They will accept it with a smile on their face and say, please, give me.
It's very easy to understand why they do that. So this is Charlie's. I think he probably does understand this, but like a lot of people's misunderstanding, maybe Charlie's, it is actually very easy to understand because you just don't understand what their value system is. A lot of times people perceive hypocrisy because they don't understand the scope of a person's feelings. The fact is that they don't really care whether Trump is a scammer. They don't care whether Trump was cheated on his wife or whether he was some weirdo or some other shit. They don't give a fuck about that. The only thing that they care about is that Trump is able to enact the policies that they want him to enact. Trump is not a person to them. He is a tool. And I think that
Zach got that right. That is completely correct. For the MAGA movement, that's exactly the way they view him. And but here's the problem with that. They're going to back him and support him no matter what he does. Even if he wasn't doing the same things, even if he wasn't enacting these policies and signing these executive orders and such, they would still go down with the ship. People like Mark Dice and Brandon Tatum and Benny Johnson and all of these forever Trumpers, they don't see a problem in what he's done in this last year, this year. They don't see an issue with the fact that, you're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein. They don't see an issue with that. They have no problem with it. They make excuses for him. And then people like Mark Dice have the gall to sit there and say that, Kash Patel's not crooked because, him and Charlie were friends. What? What are you talking about? That's a whole other video I'm going to make. Just because they were friends, or maybe on the appearance of friends, the FBI is not ran by the president. If you think that's true, I'm telling you, you guys are so out of touch, it's not even funny. No 3-letter agency in this country that is federal is ran, or do they take orders from the president? That has, especially the Bureau, they have never taken orders from the president as far as direct orders, and then them actually running the show and telling them, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. No, it's the people, it's the men behind the curtain. I'm telling you, Stephen Greer, look, people can say what they want about Stephen Greer, but he has it correct when he says, and I'll find the clip later because I'm going to put it in another video. He talked about how the people that actually run the world are people with their names are innocuous. You've never heard of them. You have no idea who they are. They might be connected to some Rothschilds or Rockefellers or Soros or, some of those people, but they are people that are completely anonymous to us.
Parallel to this is Hassan. The reason why a lot of people don't care about the dog at all is because Hassan represents a value system that transcends what his individual behavior is as a person. So Hassan and Destiny is the same thing. Fundamentally, what we're talking about is the way that humans perceive things. People will be more than willing to accept a horrible person if that horrible person will do something that they want.
He's
right.
And
it's really just that simple.
It is.
And the hypocrisy for this is actually not hypocrisy. It's a lack of perspective. You think that their value system is what they're saying. It's not.
But it reveals them to be short-sighted and lack values and integrity, period. It shows that they lack the integrity to say, well, we don't want someone who's corrupt, even though they're going to do what we want them to do, right? Like, we don't want someone who is inherently, at this point, corrupt, that we know they're hiding something and they know that they're listening to other people, that they're taking orders from someone else that's actually at the top. Yet you guys refuse to acknowledge that. That enrages me. It enrages me whenever I have to have conversations with people here in the South about our president. And I'm like, y'all don't understand. Now, I don't get angry with them. I get very passionate about it whenever we talk about it. When we have we have open discourse. I have that regularly with people, even my church even. And I say, look, you guys are not seeing the bigger picture. You need to step back from where you're at, on the right side. You need to step back and look at the whole scale. That's what you need to do.
And it never was. Their value system is actually about achieving these meta-level goals. And even if they have an imperfect messenger, that's better than having no messenger at all. That's the real reason.
He's right.
And once you look at things through that lens, you'll understand why so many of these issues of hypocrisy are actually not hypocrisy.
They don't even stick to a single belief anymore. Like the Epstein files, I know I have made a lot of content on in the past, so I'm not going to regurgitate that. But the Epstein files are a really good example of how they really cared about the Epstein files, and they were really upset at the failure of Joe Biden to release them.
I still care. I'm very upset about that. But there's no point in getting upset because it was predictable. It was predictable. As soon as he opened his mouth that day, him and Pam Bondi, all I could say was, I am not surprised.
So they were hyping up Trump about all of his promises to release those Epstein files, which he has still not done and still actively just like discounts. And the entire administration denying the existence of now.
Right.
And this same group of people that was so excited for Trump to follow through on that promise is now like, oh, he didn't break any promises. In fact, it's just not even important. That's why he's not doing it. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, who cares about the Epstein files? We have so many bigger things to worry about. Like what the next product we're going to have to buy from Trump is.
That's the argument I keep hearing around here is we have other things to worry about. It's not important. Excuse me? It's mind-blowing, the absolute gall of these people. You claim to be Christian. People that claim to be Christian have told me that.
It's going to be the phone. It's going to be socks, maybe. So the reason why, and this is the reason why it happened. A lot of the people that were pro-Trump were very, very much in favor of releasing the Epstein files. Trump said that the Epstein files weren't there. A lot of people, whenever Joe Biden was president, I think that they weren't really talking about it a lot too. I think that really people do care about the Epstein files. But what they really care about is being able to weaponize the Epstein files against their political opponents. That's what they really care about. And I know this might be a very, very tough pill to swallow, but I don't think people really care about what happened or not. I think a lot of people genuinely don't, because Chris Brown is still on the radio and he beat the shit out of Rihanna. You have people like Sean Penn that beat the shit out of Madonna. You have people like Chuck Berry that married like a 14-year-old. You have tons of people that have done all these horrible.
What Asmon is saying is there is no accountability in our society, and I agree. I agree in that most of MAGA would weaponize it against their political opponents. So absolutely. Their viewpoint, that's the wrong viewpoint to have. You don't need a weapon. No, you need to hold people accountable. That's not weaponization. That's just holding you accountable for your actions. In my mind, there's only one of two possibilities for the JE files, okay? One, the feds literally do not have it because there's another country that actually has it that supposedly JE was working for, or at least an asset of, okay? They have it. And that's why we have to bend the knee to them, because they use it as blackmail. In a lot of people's perspectives, they claim that it would collapse our entire economy. As many people that's on it, it's probably hundreds, maybe thousands of people. That might be correct. But the truth would be out. And everybody's like, well, you're willing to risk the financial security? Since when have we been financially secure? When? When's the last time we as a country were financially secure? As far as locally, in my little bubble of the world, the last time I was actually financially secure was whenever I was living at home with my parents. And we were poor. We were poor. By definition, we were poor. But I never wanted for anything as far as, we had food stamps and, and stuff like that. We had a government assistance, but, for many years. But then my parents started making a little better money. And we didn't live in a big fancy house. My point is that financially, since when has this country been financially stable anyway? So that part doesn't matter to me. The truth needs to be outed, but it won't be. That is the hard truth that people need to accept, is it's never going to come out no matter how badly we want it to. And as far as weaponization is concerned, yes, there are people that just want to hurt others. If we know for a fact that these people are sick and twisted and demented and literally demonic, then I would want to know who all is on that list. There's only one of two options. Either that foreign country has it or it was completely destroyed. That's the only two options in my mind.
And the public has accepted them to a general extent. This is true, and it's undeniable. And I understand that, again, by me saying this, people might think that it's problematic, but I can come up with a lot more examples if you want. Jerry Seinfeld. People love Jerry Seinfeld. He dated a 17-year-old girl. I think of the lowest, most base, most selfish, self-serving thing that people could possibly believe. That's why. And I think that I'm right pretty much every single time. And that's it. It's sad you have to keep saying the same thing as people don't listen. Well, it's because people don't understand. I think it's not that people don't listen. It's that people don't want to listen. That's the reason why, because I think that people don't want to hear this.
Once you break someone's illusion, look, it happened to me. When it happened in high school. Let me tell you a little story. When I was in high school, I had a construction teacher. I'm not going to say who he was. He used to be a state trooper for Arkansas. Okay. He was an Arkansas state trooper for many years, for almost 20 years. And then he became a construction teacher for high school. We were talking politics one day, and this was during the, I think John Kerry and George Bush election. So I'm in high school and I'm talking to him and I'm in class, and I was asking him questions because at the time I had no idea how the political system worked. And he was explaining it all to me. We were talking about corruption, and he was talking about Bill Clinton whenever he was in office, whenever he was governor. And he told me a story that Bill Clinton allegedly, you remember the two boys that were found on the railroad tracks? He knew what happened to them. And I'm not going to go into detail. Maybe that'll be saved for another day. He knew exactly what happened to them. And he told me that Bill Clinton allegedly knew about it and covered it up, allegedly. I'm going to keep saying that, allegedly. That was just something that he believed because he was there and he knew everybody that was involved. And he said that it was because it was a huge operation that was going on that had to do with, drugs. Okay. It had to do with that. And it had to do with a white powder substance. May give that what you will. He talked to me for about 30 minutes about this, and I was floored. And that was whenever my illusion of how the world worked was shattered. Okay. Because 9/11 had just happened a few years back. And that's whenever I was really starting to question things. And then whenever he told me this, it completely shattered my illusion. And then I realized what reality was, that all of these people are corrupt.
I think it's an extremely unpleasant reality, but it is reality.
Yeah.
It's my understanding of reality, at least.
A lot of you do not understand that the devil runs this place. God told us so. He tells us in the Bible many times that the devil is the god of this world. He runs the show. Let me ask y'all a question. And I'm being dead serious about this. I want you to respond in the comments. I want to know your opinion. If you don't trust the government, okay, you don't. None of us do. No matter who's in office. You don't trust the government as a whole. Then you tell me why that every time that there is a mass casualty event or some kind of big event that's a tragedy that ends up in the news cycle for 2 weeks, sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks, and all the major media outlets are covering it. Tell me why you actually believe the details. Do you buy it all at face value? A lot of them, most of you don't question. You don't question the official narrative. You just go with it and you say, oh, well, that was terrible. This is what happened there at this, at this church or, at this event. It was either a boom that went off or somebody fired lead or tell me why you believe what they tell you, what they spoon feed you. Why would you? I don't believe hardly anything when it comes to tragedy on the news because the news was created as far as in modernity as a propaganda tool. It is a tool that is being used against the American people. That is my opinion. And I have free speech and I can say that.
They're just now saying it doesn't matter. We don't care. We actually don't want this information. Actually, I believe everything they're saying now. Yeah, it definitely doesn't exist. Yeah, actually, Maxwell's probably innocent too. But again, I've already talked about that a lot. Let's talk about some other stuff. The vaccine. Trump just got a booster, not a conspiracy. Just out in the open, signed, documented, stamped. It is legitimate. Yes. Trump just got a COVID.
Charlie's right. That was something that me and my husband were actually discussing this morning, is that he was like the father of the vaccine in terms of he was the one that he was in office whenever they got started on it. I don't agree with any of that either. And to this day, he still thinks it's a good thing. Whenever I personally know people, I know someone right around the corner from us down here that has been suffering for the past 3 years after she got her second one. She has been through so much. I read her Facebook post, and she was completely paralyzed for a while, was in a wheelchair, had a tracheotomy. It was terrible. She was and it didn't happen until she got that second one. Once that happened, that's whenever all hell broke loose and her body started turning it against itself. And she has to be on a very specific routine. Now, for a while, she got better. She actually got better. And I mean, because she was paralyzed from the waist down for a long time, for months. And then she got feeling back, and then she did therapy and she was able to get feeling back. But she ended up going back to the gym. She was doing good. Her tracheotomy, scar was there, and they weren't going to have to put another one in. She was able to get rid of that. She was able to breathe on her own. But then it's she did a complete 180, come back the other way, and she started, her health started failing her again. And she is not old, y'all. She's my age. She's in her 30s, maybe early 40s. And it's terrible. It's terrible what I've seen happen to her. I've been following her journey. I hate to call it a journey, but it is. On Facebook. And, I keep her in my prayers because of how terrible it is to have to live that way. I know so many other people that I could put them on a list. I could write it down in my little black book. I could write it down how many people that I actually personally know or in contact with that have ended up with blood clots or myocarditis. Sorry, I can't talk. Myocarditis. If you don't watch Dr. John Campbell, you need to. Let me go ahead and address this, and then we'll go on to the rest of the video, because I want you guys to really hear what I'm saying, because I'm probably talking into the void right now. Fine. Just fast forward it. Fine. If I'm talking into the void, that's fine. Charlie is right. People are brainwashed at an unprecedented level in modern America today. Yes, that is true. However, what he fails to mention in this video is that the washing of the brain isn't just happening on the right. It's happening on the left as well. And might I add that it's like 1,000 times worse on that side of the fence. Why do y'all think we call it left wing and right wing? Because it's a part of the same bird, my guy. That's why. Charlie, you and Zach both have trouble understanding that. Now, Charlie definitely does. Zach, he's right on the line, right on the fence. Like he's on the precipice of discovering that hidden truth of our political system. There are too many things and too many people to name in this that could be possible, what you would call accomplices in the actual power structure of our country and in our world. But I don't believe that they are anything less than evil. There are a very, very, very few people that are in the system, in our political system, that are actually genuinely good. That's just my opinion. So, funny story. Whenever I got up to go eat with my husband earlier, I unplugged my mic, and for about 45 minutes, I was talking into dead air. Wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? That you just waste, like 2 hours of your life and you can't get it back. So what happens is Charlie starts talking about the beer bug jab. A lot of us, whenever all of this happened back in 2020 and 2021, we were all skeptical. I was skeptical. I wasn't just skeptical, like I was on the extreme. I was on guard. I refused to take it. My parents both ended up in the hospital at the exact same time at the end of September of 2021 with it. They both were very ill, so they both catch it. They both go in at the same time. And there was so much negligence on the medical facility's part that I came close to suing. It was medical malpractice at its highest degree, in my opinion. If you guys could have seen what I saw, I was fit to be tied. I'll just say that. But my mom come out. My dad didn't. He passed away. We had to have his funeral while she was still in the hospital, and it killed me to do that. But we had no choice. We waited a week and a half. We couldn't wait any longer. We had to bury him. It was terrible. So I've been personally affected by this, and not just by the beer bug itself, but by the jabs as well. The whole lie around all of this, I'm talking about the whole thing, all this crap that we were fed by our government and the media. I am so glad I didn't listen to any of them. I didn't. I'm not happy about any of it. I'm still angry about all of that because it personally affected me in my life. If you want to blame one administration or the other, that's fine. I really don't care because as far as I'm concerned, I blame them all as a whole. They were all involved. This was all orchestrated, manufactured. It was released on purpose. That is my opinion. If you don't like that opinion, then that's just too bad. I believe that because Rand Paul, how many times did he run Fauci through the ringer over this? But guess what? Nothing happened. So Charlie goes on to talk about these things. And what he's not understanding is that the fact that our current president had something to do with all that. Yeah, he did. And I'm not happy about any of that stuff. I don't actually support him in that way because I know that he's a part of the same system that I'm against. It's anti-American. It is anti-nationalism, okay? The system that he is now a part of, the people that he answers to are literal globalists. It was insane. It was insanity. But the thing about that is that deceptions will continue. Do you trust your government? If your answer is no, then why do you trust everything that they say has happened? Well, I don't trust everything. That's good. Hopefully you don't trust everything they say has happened. But when you see something happen in Kentucky, something goes awry, somebody goes off the deep end and goes off, it stays in the news cycle for a week or two. If it's a big event, a mass casualty of some sort event, it can be anything. Anything that stays in your news cycle in media, in regular media, for more than a week, I'm telling you right now, number one, you're not going to get the full story ever. Number two, if you do get the full story, there's going to be lies in it. Number three, sometimes they are completely manufactured events. It is not up to me or you or anybody else to decipher which ones they are, because at this point, I'm just done with it. I'm done with just believing what the media dishes out and these things, because I already know what they're capable of. If you spent any time reading declassified files, I have documents. If you have never done that, then you have no idea what they're capable of. You need to go educate yourself, brother. That's what I'm telling you. And if you have no idea, if you've never sat down with a stack of papers in your hand or on your phone and actually read through these documents, then you have no idea the lengths that they're willing to go to deceive the American public. I'm sorry, but you don't. You have no idea. Anyway, the rest of the video is basically Charlie talking about ceasefire. Then he asks, there's a lot of things. He mentioned Ted Cruz and the foreign power that we're not allowed to question. He talks a lot about that. And I completely agree with that part of it. He asked a no question about them and why they have such a stranglehold on us to the point of controlling our actual speech in our country. That shouldn't be able to happen. That shouldn't be a thing. And the demands they're able to make, which for the record, that's pretty wild. And then he goes back over the crypto crash again. There were people that lost millions of dollars, people that lost their life savings, and people that actually self-deleted, which is really sad. I'll have to pray for their families, because that's pretty terrible. I would never take my life off of money because it's something you can get back regardless of how much you lost. That is the truth. It'll be hard. It'll be impossibly hard, but you can still do it. And I hate that people think that that's the only way out. Bottom line, Charlie, I think, is probably a pretty decent guy. Probably. I would really like to pray for him and Asmongold as far as for them to come to Christ. I pray that they will one day. Charlie is still looking through a keyhole whenever he's got a whole barn door behind him that he can just open. He's not looking at it from the perspective that I am, or that a lot of others are. It's not just the right that has the washing of the brain problem. It's both sides sipping from the same crazy straw of the same Kool-Aid. You can't fix stupid with another flavor of stupid, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you can't fix it. I say this with love. We've all been a little naive before. Whenever I was, I don't know, probably 15, 16, 17, I was pretty naive. But then I realized the way of the world a few years after going into high school and after high school. And I realized that the world was not what I thought it was. I used to think that the system was just broken, is what I thought. I didn't know that it was built this way until I did. That illusion was shattered for me. And that's what this is going to take. It's going to take everyone's illusion of what reality is to be shattered. And I don't think, with the way things are going right now, that that's going to happen for a lot of people, because there's too many that have their heads in the sand and don't understand the deception that is going on around them every single day, from not just our government, but the three-letter agencies that I spoke about earlier. I'll get better at collecting my thoughts. I know I will, I promise. I was an addict for 8 years of my life. I've been sober for almost 10 now, but my point is that it's for a reason. There's a reason why I cannot speak correctly. There is a reason why my memory is so bad. I used to not be this way. I was in college. Like, I was really good at public speaking and speaking in front of a crowd. And I was able to, I had an extensive vocabulary. Like, I was like a walking thesaurus. I was a writer. Like, I loved writing. Like, writing was my passion, but my memory just has not allowed me to catch back up with that. I'll get better at this. I promise, especially once I swap medications and my brain is able to heal and I'm able to get off this crap completely. I'm on Spox, and I've been on Spox in a long time. I'm getting on the Sublocade shot, more than likely in January. I'm so excited. Like, I'm ready for it to happen. It'll be January, February when I can first get on it. And then after 2 or 3 months, I'll be done. And my brain, after that done period, after I get off, like, my brain will finally start healing and I won't have to worry about it. There's so many things in the world that I want to talk about. Not just trending things, but things that are just strange that I would like to discuss. So just hang with me. I'm going to be learning as I go. I know that YouTube is oversaturated, but I don't care. I know that this is probably going to have to be a hobby for me for a year or two before I actually start making any real money on it. To the point where I can actually quit my day job. I don't make a lot, but I do know that I could make enough where this would sustain me and I could do it every single day and I'd be so good at it. I think I'd be great at it. Most people will not speak on certain topics because they are afraid to be ostracized or just completely rejected from society and by society. And I'm not afraid of that. So that's just me. That's just who I am. All right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat supper. And just remember, don't pour any gas, either literal or figurative, on your problems because it's not worth it. Good intentions are good intentions, but if you can see that it's going to do nothing but cause more problems down the road, just don't put the match down. Okay? Yeah.